For someone who doesn't like sports, arcade-style sports games are a kind of experience that can be enjoyed by someone who doesn't like playing a full-on simulation like Madden or FIFA. While these games have always existed, these days, companies seem to take less chances on goofy sports titles and stick firmly to the big-budget, high-selling annual franchises. In the early days of the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube generation, arcadey sports titles like NFL Blitz, NBA Street, and of course extreme sports games like Tony Hawk and SSX were still big sellers and could compete with the big dogs. Today, we're talking about a game where you play golf with frogs. That game is Ribbit King for the PS2 and GameCube. Ribbit King is not the first game to feature frog golf, just the first for American gamers. Kero Kero King, the Japanese-only predecessor to Ribbit King, was released on the original PlayStation in 2000. While it's almost exactly the same as its sequel, Ribbit King refined its gameplay in addition to the technical and graphical upgrades that come with a change in console generations. One notable feature, however, is that it supported the Pocket Station, a Japanese-only PS1 accessory. While its specific function with Kero Kero King is unknown, the Pocket Station is essentially just Sony's version of the Dreamcast's VMU, a small memory card with a screen that allowed for limited minigames and other additional features. Ribbit King was created by illustrator Yosuke Kihara. He created the characters based on his signature art style, making every main character, and their frogs, very distinct from one another. The game came with a second disc filled with short cartoons based on the game's characters and story. Ribbit King Plus contains 27 shorts in total, and most are under 1 minute long. These were originally broadcasted in Japan, leading up to the release in order to promote it. Ribbit King was released in June of 2004 for the PS2 and GameCube in North America. While Famitsu gave the Japanese version a 30 out of 40, American critics weren't as kind. IGN gave it a 5 out of 10, and GameSpot gave it a slightly better 5.9, complaining that it was too focused on its bizarre storyline. Over the years though, it gained a cult following. Gamers found themselves being drawn to the game's general cheesiness and unique frolf gameplay. The story in Ribbit King is definitely a strange one. We play as Scooter, a young resident of the planet Hippotron. The king summons Scooter because he needs his help in order to increase the planet's supply of super ribbonite, a fuel source that powers the planet. Right from the get-go, you'll see how fucking weird this story is. The game just throws you right into this cutscene.
It's over, we're doomed, this planet is doomed,
To get more super ribbonite, Scooter must play in a frolf tournament and become the titular Ribbit King. This means traveling across the universe to different planets, defeating all kinds of wacky characters with the help of his sentient picnic basket, Pickwick. While this story certainly doesn't make any sense, the general strangeness of just about everything is what makes it memorable. The best example of this strangeness is one of the first characters you meet in the game, Sluggy. Sluggy is a giant alien frog that speaks with a lisp. He is not only the referee for all frolf games, he is also the pilot of the ship you use to travel from planet to planet, the FUV. While the story or characters have absolutely no depth or anything of the sort, the interactions make it interesting, in that you never know what's going to happen next kind of way. The graphics definitely hold up, as they go for a cartoony style that works well. It's a very colorful world, and every little detail shines, from the course obstacles to the frogs. Each planet, character, and frog all look very distinct from one another, and since there's so few of them, that's a good thing. The CG cutscenes look pretty good as well, and could pass as an early 2000s cartoon. Nothing here is groundbreaking by any means, but the style is very reminiscent of kids' cartoons, which seems to be what the game was going for, even though there are scenes like this.
By the way, who exactly are you anyway?
Oh, me? Why, I'm a referee. Anyway, your opponents are all waiting. Let's go kick off the Frolf Tournament Tour!
A referee? Are they always that creepy?
I don't really trust him. He's shady.
Yoo-hoo! All aboard the FUV! Hurry up, let's go!
Should we go?
Forget it. Come on. He's a weirdo.
At least I'm not a picnic basket.
Huh?
The music here is decent. There aren't many standout tracks, but it continually adds to the light mood of the game. There are a limited amount of songs, however, which will get annoying after extended play sessions. The voiceover is also not very good. Most characters have very high-pitched voices just like you'd expect, and not many truly stand out. While Sluggy's voice certainly makes him a memorable character,
Your score so far is this.
other characters just seem to blend together, and sometimes the voice work is outright cringy.
Oh, Scooter. Reporting back, are we?
Since you've made it this far into the video, I guess it's time to finally describe what the Frolf really is. Frolf is frog golf, but we use the word golf in the loosest sense possible here. The main goal is to hit a catapult to launch your frog to the goal, but there's a lot more to it than that. A frog in one will net you 1,500 points, but more often than not, you'll have to score points in other ways to beat your opponent. There are large bubbles all around the arena, which have their point values listed on them, and they need to be popped. Other than that, there are lots of different things scattered around the course that your frog can interact with to gain points. The most common interactions that you'll have are swimming, eating flies, or jumping onto spider webs. The more of these obstacles that you get your frog through in one turn will net you a large number of points. In the beginning of the single player campaign, getting the frog into the goal first will often be enough to win. But as you start to get into the game's later matches, you'll need to use these to get higher scores, or the computer opponents will make quick work of you. In addition to the obstacles that will increase your score, there are also some that do the opposite. Hitting trees or walls will take points away from you, and there are also monsters that can eat you and throw you farther away from the goal. Certain obstacles may not only increase your point value, but also get you closer to the goal as well. As you can see, there's a lot more to Frolf than it seems, and we're still not finished yet. There are also a large amount of power-ups and items that can be used in the game as well. While these certainly aren't necessary, they can provide that extra boost to help you get your frog into the hole. These include things like higher jump distance and health recovery, but also more obscure things like decreasing how close you need to be to an obstacle to trigger it, or being able to swim in lava. There are 5 different courses in the game, and they all have unique features. Lavatron obviously features lava, while Tektron features moving platforms and hazards like oil and electricity. We can select courses and buy items from the hub inside of our ship, the FUV. There, Scooter can walk around and the player can choose their next objective. Ribbit King's campaign is a bit lengthy, coming in at around 8 to 10 hours depending on your skill level. You'll face off against different characters in your quest to become the titular Ribbit King. This feels very long due to the fact that soon after its early levels, you'll start to face repeating characters and become sick of its 5 worlds. Just when you begin to get excited to see what goofy character the game can throw at you next, it just stops doing that altogether. Around halfway, the difficulty also begins to ramp up to varying degrees of ridiculousness.
Why did they do that?
You may have to play one match multiple times, but then the next will be a blowout. The difficulty curve can be confusing, and as you work your way through the story, you may find that it's not worth it to continue, because it's not. While we thoroughly enjoyed the weird story with its wacky cast of characters, it has nowhere near enough depth to warrant seeing it to its conclusion. I would recommend playing the campaign until you've unlocked all of the characters, and then continue to play multiplayer with friends. Ribbit King is a weird game, and one that's not for everyone. Its story and aesthetic are about as Japanese as you can imagine, but its quirkiness helps to elevate it beyond just some weird budget title. The story and characters are weak, and while it lacks in providing a worthwhile single-player campaign, its personality and charm still provide a compelling experience. Frolf is an interesting concept, and the actual gameplay is very fun, and satisfying to master. With more courses, the game could have had more legs to it, and if the PS2 version had online multiplayer, then we'd really be talking. But still, Ribbit King is an impressive hidden gem that most people still don't know about. A Nintendo Switch port could prove to do a lot of good for the game, with more features being added including online multiplayer, more courses, and characters. Ribbit King holds up, and should be played by anyone looking for an obscure and bizarre sports game.
Go!